All right, so we did the resource view. I will review that a little bit, but this will be for meeting in detail, which kind of already reviews what we did last time. I wanted to show you for all of these assignments, pretty much, if you click on the little blog thing at the top, it will take you through the whole assignment. Again, not with the Python club, but with the sample one. It takes you through step by step. It does have a few extra things in it, which I don't ask for in the assignment, but you can ignore those if you want. So it goes through, it gives you the code, it gives you hopefully a decent explanation. So I did that for pretty much every assignment. And I will add, the one part of the blog that's missing is the extras. I will add that, I just haven't done it yet. So I just wanted to mention that that's there. The goal of this assignment is to basically we're going to, for you, it would be to take the meetings and then create a, basically you just list the title of the meetings, then you click on the title and get the details for the meeting. So it's you have a page of things, and when you click on it, it gives you the detail. Does that make sense? So we'll be passing just an ID from that. So that's what we're going to do, except I'll do a product and then the details. Same thing. The code we do in class is so close to what you have to do. I think sometimes that's a problem, because I know most of you are cutting and pasting and you don't always change everything.
Well, it's identifying what to change, and I think that's where I'm stuck with the last assignment.
Okay.
I know there are things to change. It's that as you're showing us what we're doing, you're not identifying which things we need to change in our version. So I'm randomly stabbing at things and trying to change things, and it's still not working.
I would like doing something new. I'm kind of like getting this time.
Oh, does anyone else have that
I
problem?
did that, and it's like you give me a login. How do I update? Okay, so then it said what I want. Now how do I update?
You have to do it at the command line. Let me see if I can remember how to do that. I wanted it.
I haven't heard that.
No, I don't want to do that. I just want to set the date. I've done this. I had to do it last quarter too. I don't want to do it through that because it doesn't work. I want the command line for it. No, it's simpler than that. It's just like set time. I don't want to do, it's just like sudo. I don't want to set the, the thing is that it's Chrome.
Yeah.
If your date is out of whack. Yeah, PseudoDateSet. That's what I want. You see that one? I would do this. So you want to do it at the command line. So I'm just going to, although don't do that date, right? So I'm going to paste. But what you want to do is you want to do set, and you want to do 2019. I have to move back. And then we need to say, what is today? It's 4. Yeah, and 30, which is correct. And the time is pretty close to, so I'm going to change it to 15 or whatever. It doesn't have to be exact. It just has to be in the ballpark. And then get rid of that 9 at the end. And then it'll ask for the password, which is P at SSW0RD1. And Tuesday, April 30th. And then everything should work. Again, the time if you want to get it closer, but that's okay. I do not know why the Ubuntu is so out of date. Yeah, why isn't it keeping the system time? I don't know. Mine is. This is the weird part. I never have any of these problems, but they've occurred throughout many times.
Set is equal to space.
Come on now. What's the benefit to doing the way that they, yeah.
So if you wanted to, for example, if you wanted to do SQI, so it's not like it's but we can basically
Right. So, developer is less work.
CSS. If you knew how to do this. If you knew, they taught us how, yeah.
The why, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So,
You see, like, if you knew it, it's basically part of the so you can all this. Like, yeah, another thing is they have you create, I can't remember what it was, but they had to create like a portal back. Basically, but then all they do is like, PHP underscore. Or it's a portal underscore. Or, so it's a whole bunch of stuff like that where.
I'm like, because my thought broken, the only thing that's not
Yeah.
And then I have the opportunity.
Yeah, one that's. And they said they were.
We'll try to fix that later. So, were there questions I was hearing? Did everyone get the clock fixed? No, not all of you may have had to do it. Does anybody else have their virtual machine not working? Okay. So, I've never, this quarter and last quarter with this class, there's so many troubleshooting things that have so little to do with what we're trying to do. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to kill that. All right, so hopefully this is open, yes. All right, so I am going to go to views. Actually, before I go to views, I am going to run the server and go to admin and add some data. Last time I added some types, but I want to add a couple of other bits of data. All right, just because otherwise my thing will display nothing. So to run the server, it's just, Python 3 manage py run server. If you're on your own laptop, it's just Python. I didn't start my virtual environment because things are, so I need to go back. And then I'll go all the way back just so that I'm doing the same line you would be doing. And I'll do source env01. If you named it something different, do whatever you named it. Bin if you're on Windows, scripts, and no source if you're on Windows. And then I'm going to do activate. Okay, then I'm going to cd, and I'm going to go back to tech review projects. Now you, again, may not have to go. I did mine inside of the env01, so you don't have to do that probably. That's because I didn't. 01 instead of 01. All right, so now I can run server. Okay. If you have errors, as I said, we'll have to deal with them, but maybe not this instant. So when it comes up, control, this is what you want. That means it's a clean start. And then I want to go to admin. So I'll go here, Do you need it up higher? I don't know how to lift all of this. Well, I can do that, but I'm not sure to lift the. Let's see if I can do that. It doesn't actually lift the.
You try clean and then
What?
try clean and then push it.
Yeah, but then I'd have to restart, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to just real quickly just go here. Oh, you know what I'm not doing? I'm running, but I didn't maximize. All right, so I'm going to go to HTTP. And notice that I actually have admin in my history now, so I'll go there. Weirdly, it doesn't ever seem to forget the super user. It's rare that it makes you log in again. So I'm going to add a product and a couple of reviews. And I might add some users because I think in the assignment I asked you to do that. So I'm going to just add a couple of products. So product name, anybody got a good one? Is it Lenovo? I have a laptop at
Oh, Lenovo.
Lenovo. Right now I've only got one user, which is Steve. So product price, anybody have a 800? 890. 97, 87, whatever. I'm just going to put it as today. This is an optional field. If they're gray, they're optional. So not a very descriptive description, but whatever. So I'm going to add another. So I want at least a couple here. Let's just do the one that's in the thing, iPad. And we have tablets. I'm still doing the same user. Product price, depending on what you're doing, is probably about 850. I don't know if this is the actual address. All right, so I'm going to, let's add one more. Anybody have a third project? So we had operating systems there. Let's do Ubuntu. Now price, although it's free, you can't just write free. It has to be a number. Okay, so that's, I'm going to save that. Now I have 3 of those. All right, again, the main reason I'm adding them here, eventually we're going to create forms where we can add them in the application. But I'm adding them here so that when I go to when I say to display them, there'll be something to display. I'm also going to, because one of the things that I was doing extra here, so we're going to click on one of these and get the details in our website. But I also will give a list of the number of reviews, which is not part of the assignment, but is kind of fun. So 2 things I'm going to do real quickly. I'm going to go home up here. I'm going to add a couple of, actually before I add the users, let's create a group. Let's create a group called members. This is similar to what you will be doing in the assignment. All right, so I'm adding a group called members. Oh, what I want is members up here, not here. Okay, so we want some permissions. I'm not going to let them do any logging. I'm not going to let them add any groups. I'm not going to let them change any permissions. I'm actually not going to let them add any users or sessions, but I will let them add a product. All of these different things I will let them add. So I'm going to add product. Probably if I was being real careful, I wouldn't let them delete anything. So these are the permissions that I gave them. Right, they can add a product and delete or change a product. I might get rid of the delete, but for right now, I don't care. Okay. So these are all the permissions that go with the group members. So I'm going to save that. And you notice I just selected and moved over. It gives you a list of permissions, basically. So now when I go to users, and I'm just going to add a couple of users besides myself. So I keep wanting to do search when I want to do add user. So let's do Joe. Password will also be p@ssw0rd1. Makes you confirm it. And if you save and continue editing, oh, they didn't match. Still, okay, so then it can give you, so Joe Smith, JS@Gmail. A real unlikely add. One of the things you can do is you can go down here and you can add him to the members group. Right, so he's now a member of the members group. So he has all those permissions. I'm going to add one other person. So these are permissions. You could add permissions separately to users, but because they're in the group, they already have the permissions that go with the group. Okay, so I am going to find the save button. All right, so let's save and add another. So we've got Joe. Let's do Jane. Password again, p@ssw0rd1. You can give them different passwords, but then you have to remember them. I'm going to do save and continue editing. And it will be, I hate that. So let's do Jane Doe when you don't know who they are. Sometimes I get better ideas for names, but. And Gmail seems to be the default e-address.
The shortest one. One of the shorter ones.
Yeah. So you can make somebody a super user right now, but generally I wouldn't make very many people super users. I'm going to again add her to the members, and that's all I really need to do, and then I will save. So I have 2 users in a group.
What's the default admin name?
What do you mean?
To log in to this administration.
So you have to create a super user right in the command line.
I probably did that.
Yeah. So if you failed, if it won't let you in, you can always, although I have to kill this to do that, you can always go to the command line and say create super user and make a new super user.
Was that lesson 3 or 4? I can just look it up.
Yeah, does anybody remember? Okay. I think it was like the last lesson because we wanted to look at it might have been the one before it, right after models. It might have been the models one. All right. Last thing I'm going to do is just add a couple of reviews. So let's go back to home, reviews, add review. So the review title is, what do you want to review? Still not quite Windows. It'll be a review for today. The product will be Ubuntu. Let's say that Joe cooperates with me on that because it'll be many to many. Let's do a rating of 4 and say this is such an insightful review. All right, so we'll save and add another. And let's do the what do we want to call this review? iPad, a bigger phone. Today, product, iPad. Let Jane do this review. Rating, I don't know. I've played with other tablets, with Android tablets and stuff, but really, their only advantage is that they cost half as much.
So for rating, what is the maximum?
What?
For the rating?
So I'm assuming 5. However, there is nothing to keep you from making a rating of 5,000 or something. One of the things you might want to do if you were doing this in a more sophisticated way is to put a constraint on that so it's limited between 0 and 5 or 1 and 5. All right, so that's my insightful review. So I'm going to save. So I have 2 reviews. Actually, we should do one more review just so that you can see that they're. Let's do one more review for Ubuntu. All right, so today, Ubuntu, we'll let Jane do this one too. 4, it doesn't allow you to do like 4.5 or anything either. So, and I'm just going to say, it may not be Windows, but it is free. And actually, it's much better than it used to be. I've been using it exclusively on my laptop, and it's fine. The only thing I miss is that I can't really use Office, and I'm pretty addicted to Word. And it has OpenOffice, but actually it has LibreOffice. But LibreOffice actually kind of sucks. So I'm going to save it. And now we have, the reason I wanted that is if I do the review thing, it'll give me two reviews for one of them, so you can see the count is working. All right, so I'm done with all the admin stuff. Are you guys okay? When you do the Python Club, just add a meeting and some minutes, right, for a couple of things. You can add a user. I think to add a user, generally for permissions, I don't give them, unless they're going to be a super user or something, I don't give them permissions to change the system things like the sessions or the settings. Just the data that is there, that is part of the application. All right, so having done that, I'm ready to go here. And again, I know that this will get some of you are kind of lost. You could actually do this even if you hadn't done the brain is gone. Even if you haven't done the previous assignment, there's nothing that would keep you from doing this. The two are not, they're independent, they're isolated from each other. Does that make sense? All right, so I'm going to, well, I kind of need that, but why is it not letting me move this over? Well, it should go, over like that. So this is the views. All right, so I'm in views. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new view. And this view is going to be very much like the last view that we did. So I'm just going to close that for a moment. I'm going to say def get products. And again, you guys won't have products, but you'll have meetings and things or resources. It always takes a request. Always has that. Sometimes, like the next one will have an additional parameter, but they always take a request. I am going to, we'll call it products list. Again, the name is entirely up to you. You do not have to say product list. I'm going to say it is equal to product objects dot all, right? So we're just going to get all the objects with all the caveats that I gave last time. If you have a billion products, you don't want to try to show them all on one web page. But for right now, we're just going to get all the products. We've only got 3. All right, so last time I did the context, but this time I'll do it the other way. So I'm going to do return, render, request. That part is always the same. I'm going to do tech review app because that's the name of my app. Again, it has to match your name, including the case. And then I'm going to give a name for the web page, which I'll just call products.html. And this time, because I didn't do the context like this, right, I'm going to need to do it here, which is curly brace, product, in quotes, product list. And then outside of the quotes, a colon. And then product list again.
Those are like the 2 different ways.
Yeah, you could do it either way. Now, like when I do the detailed part of this, I'm going to do it this way because I'm going to send more than one thing. It's nice in that you can pass more than one thing to the web page. What you're creating here, not that you care a whole lot, is a dictionary. It's a Python dictionary. And it can have more than one value. Yeah.
Product list, is that with an S or with an S?
It needs to match. So let's take the S out of here because I left it out of the other 2. Good eye. Now this is the kind of thing that causes errors down the road. So when I'm coming looking over your shoulder, I tend to see that, this needs to match this one at least. This could be a little different, but this is what's going to show up on the web page. So this one doesn't have to be the same, but it makes your life easier if it is. Right? This one does. This one is basically saying that whatever you name this, it's going to load the content of this. And that's why these 2 have to match. That's the whole thing here, right? That's the whole part for just getting the products. So, questions on that?
So, I'm sorry to be a little not with it.
That's
today.
fine.
Is this lesson 6 we're working on?
Yeah. which I think you've already turned in.
So, no, I haven't, but in the create the product view, you have get products in the lesson, but you don't have this get types.
Oh, this is a different. So that's not part of this lesson. It's from the last one.
Oh, so I just didn't get updated for this. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. The last time we did, we just showed the types up on the screen. That makes sense?
Yeah. Okay.
And then this one we're doing, this is exactly the same process as what this one is. We're just going to add one step beyond it. And then I'm going to do URLs pi, and then we need to add the URL. So comma here, right? If you didn't have a comma after this last one, you do need one now. Path, get products, or whatever I named it. Was it get products? Here's this will bring it up as IntelliSense. So yeah, get products. And then you can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name it products. The name is what you can use for the URL, right? This is like a shortcut to get to it. And if you prefer, you can name it get products too, whatever you want. So this is the URL. What else? Where do we go next? Any clues? There's actually two places we could go next, but yeah. So probably you want to add the view in the HTML, right?
Do you use that right after the get product, or is that optional?
What, the comma at the very
Oh,
end?
no, like get type in get product.
Oh, the slash should be there. The slash should be there. It probably won't find it without it. So I'm making lots of little typos today. Good eye again. So let me save that. All right, so you're right. We'll go to the templates, tech review app, right? And then inside of that, we're going to create another template. So I'm going to call a new file products.html. And again, it has to match exactly what you said in the view. So I said products.html. So that's what this has to be. The name has to match exactly, including case. Yeah, but are you having an error or something? And I gather you didn't get it to work. We'll have to figure that out. That's weird.
So it's the name that it has to match.
Oh, so the name it has to match is in views. Because this is where it defines what the HTML page will be. So the products.html, that has to be what's in the HTML over here.
Okay, the template.
Yeah, now the template, well, so the template needs to match the part that we need to loop through is going to be product list, right? So that has to match in the template. Everything kind of relates. Go ahead, your question.
But the template name is.
Is products HTML. Are you guys done with the URL and all?
That's not working.
What?
It
What's-
just says, path get products, invalid syntax.
Do you have a comma after the one up above it?
Oh, I don't.
The comma, this comma is somewhat optional, but this one is not.
Okay.
All right, so into the template. So curly braces. I will say that when I'm doing this on my own for speed, like I can recreate this whole assignment in these days. I can do it in about a half hour, maybe a little less. I do a lot of copy and paste though. And you could copy and paste this from the last one, but I'll write it by hand just for the further explanation. So first thing you need is, right, it extends base.html. All right, so that's just telling it what am I using as my broader template, right? So base HTML. And as I've said before, you can have multiple templates there if you want different looks. But let's play with that when you want. Yeah.
Should there be another single quote?
Yes, there should. I'm having lots of typo issues today. All right, so then what we need is the content area. So I'm going to look at index, block content. And then we want end content, end block. And the trick with the end block is it's always one word. All right, so we got that much. And then I'm going to do like just a quick H2, say products. And then I am going to start a table. And I'm going to give it the class table, which again is, that's Bootstrap. I'm going to start a table row. And I'm going to do product. These are, so first of all, I want to do TH. Product name, or I could just say name. What else? I don't want to display everything here. Is there a description on product?
Type.
I could do type, but well, let's do product type. See if that works. Do we want anything else? This is, we're going to make a link eventually on this thing to the details. Let's just do that much. So we need to also do, we want the rows from the product. So for this, and this is true normally when you're presenting more than one thing, we need to, for P in product underscore list, right? That's what we were passing, remember that? But almost always you need to loop through the results to write out the things, to write out each individual product.
And we will put products list.
Yeah, well, so I did product list. If you did products list, use products list, whatever you said it was. Weirdly, it doesn't generally throw an error if you get it wrong. It just doesn't show anything. Real quickly before, because I often forget to do this, let's do end for. All right, so we're inside of the for. We're going to create a table row, TD, and what we want, double parentheses on each side, and P dot product name. This needs to match what's in the model. So when I look at the models and I go down to product, I have product name and then I have tech type. That's the two things I have here, right? I could have put product description there too. But all right, we'll let it go. So let's go back. So I'm going to add one more, which is just the type. And then p dot product. P dot. It's a type name again. Tech type. And again, it just needs to match whatever your model is, because that's where it's coming from. Oops, wrong place. All right, that should work. So if I do the whole thing, can I get it all on there? And again, the easiest way to do these is like to take your types or your index and just copy and paste it, change the names, but it's probably not a bad thing to know how to type it out too. So we extend the base, we set up our block. H2 is just to tell us what kind of things we're looking at. We create a table. It doesn't have to be a table. You could do a UL or something if you wanted. I mean, whatever HTML you want to use to display it. And then these are just headings that I typed in. These are getting the values from the model and from what we typed into the admin thing. We're ending our for loop and then in the table and in the block. This is not that different if you've done it in PHP. It's almost exactly the way you would do it in PHP. It's pretty much the way you do it in any language for the most part. You always have to loop through your results and surround it with some kind of HTML for display.
It's not that intuitive because it doesn't like color the words as functions. So it looks like it's just like text.
Yeah, that's maybe you know, the IntelliSense for VS Code isn't as great for Django as it is for some things. VS Code is written in JavaScript. It's written in Microsoft's flavor of JavaScript, which is interesting. Yeah. I was just reading about that. Microsoft's flavor of JavaScript is becoming quite popular, I guess, because you can create whole apps out of it, which is typically you can't do with just straight JavaScript. All right, so I'm going to save this. There's one last piece of this, and then we'll do this is all identical to what we did last time, except with a different thing. So in the base, I am going to add another URL, right? Link to it, so it'll be in the menu. Otherwise, it's hard to find the product. So I'm going to, it is possible you can go directly to the URL, but you have to figure what that is. So I'm going to do href, and again, typically what I would do is just copy this, and you're welcome to do that from the one above it, %. URL. URL tells it to look at the URL file and to use the name, right? So the name was products. Was it products or product? I can look real quickly. URL products, so it's that. And then I can close this %. And then I need to give it, I'll just say products. Okay. And the thing about the navbar nav, when you have an href, it actually, so Bootstrap formats that for you into a menu item. So it's exactly like the one above it, except the name of the URL.
Still need a closing A table.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Yeah, like
Sometimes it doesn't, it's needy.
Advantage of copying it is all those things would be there.
Yeah.
Oh, very close, but you can definitely be there.
So I saved it again. I'll give you a minute and then I'll run it and we'll look at it. So this is just so you have a link to it on the menu, this part. And the products comes from the URLs where I say the name is. Name equal products. That's where that comes from.
Do you need to make migration again, or do you?
No, you don't need to make any migration. The only time you need to make a migration is if you make structural changes to the database, the model files. All right, so I've saved all this. My server is still running. So I'm going to leave the admin up, but I'm going to click over here. It's the same basic address, HTTP. I'm going to click on admin, but I'm not going into I'm going to backspace over that. And it's always the name of your basically the app. So here's Tech Review app. And it gives me tech reviews, types, and products. And when I click on products, I should have products. No, I have an error.
I don't see anything.
Yeah, I'm having.
So let's look at it. Oh, I did a space in my end for. These debug pages are scary, right? Because they give you the whole trace.
So it was not supposed to have the space, or it was supposed to have the space?
No space. And I knew that.
I don't know.
What error do you have?
Oh, I bet you haven't bothered to. Oh, no, maybe not.
Yeah, that's. No, it doesn't. It's not it. It's together. It has to be together.
All right. So all of this is just a repeat of what we did last time.
I got this weird error. When it's you fix.
So the products right up there. So the words may not be defined. Let's get you your reviews. Imported models.
You fix it.
Usually we fix it and just reload it.
Right, but what are you trying to do? So you want to
Yep. It's with the S or without S? Oh, okay.
So mostly what you need to do is So we need to create the other thing. I'll help you. But I'm also recording it, so. Yeah. Yeah. So let's look at your. So let's look at your are those what you actually?
Like, I mean, that's, I mean, some people just.
First of all, let's look at, these, actually, let's look at these. That's okay. So let's look at the models. So product name and tech. So let's see what your product. Oh. Yeah. Product name is
It's still between P.
do P. It has to match what you're got down below.
Mine is the P.
Are you running your server?
Yours takes like, no, yours is admin. Import tech type, comma, product, comma, product.
So.
I'm not.
Oh.
And then review. And admin the site rest type. Yeah. Site register. Nothing.
Oh, because you haven't overwritten.
No record.
I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, so that. I was wondering that.
I think that's in the products. You know, I think.
This needs to be. I'm trouble.
Right. Oh, I'm nervous.
Yeah, right.
I didn't think I'd get this far.
You have to put it
Thank you. This kind of startling, sometimes you're working on something and we just keep getting errors and you're like, listen, there's some margin improvement. Did
What happened? What did I
actually fix it? I have no idea how we fixed it.
That moment of panic.
Like,
Just like
what?
the flip.
Like, yeah, exactly, like, I refreshed again and
Still
then all
unspoken.
disappear. Like, the whole grammar is fixing. Like,
Product. I have.
Yeah, so let's look at your.
Because someone would have asked for something in minutes. wait. Yeah, wait. This is in box. That's in box. Go back. Oh, yours. Oh, you made it into small. You can change it. Change it. Change the smaller. Now we will go to the smaller.
I've seen that happen before.
Okay.
So we figure out anything.
Just show,
You might have. All right, are we ready for the last part of this? All right.
And now go to
Well, let's see what we got. So first on the scene.
Getting on those pages.
That type is not hard. Okay. Cool. It looks like it might be okay. So let's go, or actually, let's go to the reduce. Let's go down to reduce. You need to import it because it's here. So from our. From. Space dot.
Open right here, close right here. You open. That's open. Activate seducing.
whatever you have.
And then.
Now, it's already in use. So it's
The product name. No, yeah, just for example, I don't know, something on the one. Yes. Is go to other places. Go to I just had then I have laptop monitors.
I'm not worried about being frustrated and lost. Boy, so. There's another.
Oh, my God.
I'm gonna go on with the next here in a moment.
Yeah.
So one of the things is knowing if you haven't been in the data or not. Let me do the last part here. Thursday is wide open lab, right? Did that help for you at all, or you know?
Yeah, sure.
And you restarted Windows? I'll work on it. I'll also get David to see if we can fix it. Every day seems chaotic to me. All right. I am going to do the next part. This is the new part. Everything that we did so far was the same as what we'd done last time. So I'm going to go to Views, and we're going to make a new view function. So I'm going to do def, and we'll call it products detail. Again, I'm not 100% sure what I called it in the tutorial, but this will work.
Singular, all lowercase.
Product detail, all lowercase. Again, it doesn't matter a whole lot as long as you put the right one in the URL. I'll leave it with the semi-capitals. This has one difference already, right? We're not only passing a request, we're passing an ID. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Because we're going to choose one of the products. We're going to click on it, and then we'll get the details for that product. How do you know which product you want to see? You pass the ID of the product. So I am going to say, I'll call it prod. I'm not sure what I called it before. It could just be product, but it gets a little confusing, I think. So I'm going to do product, and this is the class, right? From models. And I'm going to do objects, and I'm going to get, and I'm going to inside here do pk equals ID. I hope I did that right. When you use get instead of all, you're looking for one object. And you need to pass it some identifying thing. If you're looking for a set of objects, but not all of them, you can use filter, right? So you have choices of like all, get, or filter. We'll do a filter maybe in a minute. Because I could do, well, let's do, say we wanted the reviews for these. So I'm going to say reviews equal review, and have I added review at the top? I have. Dot objects dot filter lowercase f. And then in the filter, I need to give it a criteria, which, if I look at the models and I look at review, the foreign key for product is just called product. So I'm going to go back. Product equal ID. Because actually that's what the foreign key will be, is the ID. So what we'll this time we'll do is it'll return all of the reviews that are related to this product. You don't have, this part is not part of this of the assignment if you don't want to do that. So I have two different things here, and again we could change this. So I'm going to do a context equals curly brace.
So these first two prod and reviews are different
Yes,
than what you have.
they're slightly different than what I have in the thing, because I think I did the count of reviews.
You're right.
I could do that too.
And the prod you have equals get underscore object underscore 4 underscore 404.
Oh, you know what? I should do that. I should do that. Give me just a second. I'll do that. I was going to do review objects filter product ID dot count. That would give us the count of all the reviews. But I actually should up here import. I think it's under shortcuts, and it is it's a get object, not red. Get, what is the actual get? It's a get object.
Yeah.
Underscore object
Underscore object 404.
or underscore or 404, right? And it's under shortcuts, right? And I assume it's all lowercase. Why don't I get IntelliSense here? This would actually be better. Get might work there, but this is better. So basically what it says, get the object or return an object not found. Right. So because I have the context here, then I will do so I'm going to do prod colon prod comma, whoa, gave me another let's just say count, review count. I need to be the same. And in quotes.
I'm sorry, your review count, your reviews.
Yeah.
In the filter, one of them you use product underscore ID and one of them you use product equals ID.
Should be product underscore ID. Well, actually, what do I have in the thing? So this should be product equal ID. And this so should be the other one. Why am I getting all these extra curly braces?
Isn't it review count, not just count?
I did review count.
Isn't that the name for just?
What? I'm going to fix that. All right, comma. Don't know why this is giving me such troubles. And then this one would be reviews. So I'm making this more complicated than the assignment. All right, so this is the context, and it's a little bit more complicated because we're passing 3 different things. And that can be nice. I mean, this is a really nice thing that you can send many things to the web page. And you refer to them by these names, right, when you're in the web page. So we'll use them, but I guess, again, it's a little bit more than, for the assignment, all you have to do is do the details, the first line here, right? All you have to do is like get the meeting details or that makes sense? All the other 2 lines here are extra. If you do more than one thing, if you're going to pass more than one thing, you definitely have to do context as a separate object here. You know, you have to create the dictionary for it. And then down here, just like before, it's return, render, parentheses, request, comma, tech review app, and then whatever the web page will be, which I'm going to call details. Actually, I should probably call it, and this should be quoted, project detail.html. Product, thank you. And then comma context equals context. You don't have to name the variable. This is a variable name for the dictionary. Let me kill this for a moment. You don't have to name this context if you don't like naming variables the same. I've noticed that in Python, and kind of following their naming conventions, it's really common to name 2 things the same. So this is a little bit more complex than what you need, but it gives you the basics of it. Comments on that? And again, for your assignment, you don't have to do all of this. Right? I thought I heard that question. My ears feel stuffed today too, so if I miss something, let me know.
Do you have a product detail HTML file already?
No.
Yeah, we'll create that.
We will create that. So we're going to do a URL. And then I think I will adapt the products HTML before I do the final. Because we need to add a link to this one to this one, right? Because when you click, basically what happens is when you click on the product name, then it will show you the details about that product. Like a catalog, kind of. All right. You guys got this part okay? So I'm going to save it. All right. So next we'll do the URL. So I'm going to go to URLs py. This is a little different because we're passing an ID in here. So I am going to say, I called it product detail. And in this case, I did capitalize the, and slash, but there's another thing where I do int ID. Is that right? Is the ID inside with the int?
It's int colon ID in your example. And
and colon ID, right? Like that?
With the angle bracket on the outside of the ID.
That makes sense. Like that. That look right?
Yeah, point out my page is breaking on that line.
So then the views would be product detail. And then we can give it a name, whatever. Might as well just call it product detail. All right. And again, the comma here is not optional, but it is optional here. So let me save. I'm going to collapse this for a moment so you can see the whole line. You basically have to tell it that you're passing an integer. If you were passing a string or some other kind of variable, you'd have to tell it what kind of variable you're passing. Everybody kind of got this part? So we'll do the modify the existing view, and then we'll create the new view.
What's the comment at the end, right?
What?
It's a comment at the end.
Yeah, it's a comma. And the comma at the very end is optional. All right. So let's go to products HTML. So we have the product name here, and we want to put the link on that so that when they click on the product name, it goes there. So inside the TD, we're going to do a href equals, and I'm going to do double quotes. I'm going to do the closed, the curly braces with the percent signs, which is basically its way of telling you you're doing some scripting. Actually, if you want, you can like close that, and this A should actually go here. All right, so inside of here, we're going to put URL, product detail. Did I do it as URLs? I need the name. Wrong URLs. Product detail. I did it all singular. We also have to say that ID equals P dot. I think is it? Do I have ID or product? P dot ID, right? Yeah. Because we're assigning a value to the ID variable, and basically we're using the ID for whatever product is there. That makes sense? This is the part that still displays, right? The product name, and it's the link you'll click on. So let me save and close, or save, and I'll do this so you can see the whole line. It's just a normal link, but it's got that kind of, so product detail is the name we gave it in the URL. Then we also have to tell it that we're passing the ID. This part isn't quoted generally. This is what's going to show up as blue and for clickable. Does that make sense? Are we ready for the last part? Nearly. I suspect a lot of these will explode when we run them. Yeah. Part of it, I mean, any typo anywhere.
One problem that I had running it was the member discount isn't an attribute, it's a function.
Right. Although I could do that. I could show you the member discount. Let's run it, and if we get this to work, I'll go back and add the member discount. It treats it as a property, though. So I'll show you. Okay, are we ready for the web page, the template for this? So I'm going to, under the Tech App subfolder of templates, I'll add a new file. Product detail HTML, and again, this has to match. So let me look at it. It'd be nice if my memory was longer than a minute. All right, product detail HTML. So, as always, what do you start with up here? Yeah, base.html. Then we do our content. And then might as well end the block content. Which is one word. Whoa. All right, so we don't need a table here. Going to do HT, and we'll do product name. So let's do, we called it, the product was just prod, is that right? Yeah, just prod. So I'm going to do prod.product name. Whoa, not over there.
Where do we name the prod?
So prod I named in the views. So you might have named it something else. This prod. And I'm just looking. So for product, we've got type, user, price, entry date, URL, description. So we can put as many of those as we want in there. Probably I'm just going to do P's. So prod dot tech type. Was it product URL? These have to match. That's the main problem with them. They have to match what's in the model. I'm going to do prod.product price. I think that's what I called it, right? And then we'll do the description. Well, let's do the user. And one more, which will be the description. Is it product description or description? Product description. If you get these wrong, what'll happen is nothing will show up there, right? So I did the count of reviews. So let's do P. I'm just going to say number of reviews. And that was review count, right? I think that's all I have to do there because it's just a single value, but we'll check. And then I'm going to do H3 and I'll say reviews. Now, because there's could be more than one review, I need to do a for loop. For R in, did I call it just review? Reviews. Well, not H2. When I do H4, I'm going down there a ways. So review title, R dot review title. And is that the name of it, the field, or is it just title? Review title, review date, and then rating and text. I'll do the users later. That involves, because it's a many-to-many, you have to do a loop inside of a loop for that. But I've got review date, rating, and text. So let's do that. And this needs the double curly braces on either side. Just a P. Again, everything after here is extra. I'm just doing the reviews. So and any fields that I'm getting wrong won't show up. Okay. So basically, I just went all through the fields. Again, the assignment is really just through here. You do the details. These are extras, and I could add more extras. Like I could do the discount if we want. I might do that if this works and if we have a minute. So I'm going to save this. I don't have to attach this to base. I don't have to give a link to it because the link is in product. So let's see if this works. First, I have to get out of, if you ever see that you're in, I don't know if I can lift it up, but you have the 3 greater than signs. It means you're in the Python editor. So you need to do like exit. EXIT with parentheses after it, and it will kick you out of the Python editor. So sometimes when it encounters an error when you're typing, it throws you into the Python editor. And it looks like, am I not in the environment anymore? All right, so I am going to, let's do a quick clear. I'm going to have to go back into the virtual. So, you guys would probably have to go further back. Okay, CD. It says my server's already in use, which should be okay. It means it was still running in the background. I probably don't need to kill it right now. If you do need to kill it, what was it, F kill? What? Well, it won't. Sometimes that won't work. There's a kill the process. There's a command to kill the process. Yeah. I think it'll be all right though.
Maybe it was break.
I get an error.
So when I refreshed this, it did work because notice these are all blue now. So let's do Ubuntu, which had 2 reviews. Okay, that fails. All right, so what is...
Because you didn't add the get object to the dependencies of that.
I'm getting that same error trying to start my
Go ahead and change that line.
same line.
It's only grabbing render now. Oh, yours is mine is. I can put a code.
So what I'm wondering, is that the way it's spelled in the... let me look real quickly. That's new tab. I had Canvas and all that up. Did they get killed? Oh, I have several versions here.
Did they get it? The underscore yeah, it's not there.
Get object or 404.
But it's line 18 in this field, which is the depth of the first line.
Oh, I know why. I do know why. I did this one wrong, this line. This one is just, when you look at it here, so it's just get object or 404, and then you name the product. And then, so I did it in the wrong order. So what I need to do is do this, and then do product, comma. I'm going to check that one last time, but yeah. I just did that line wrong. I was doing it from memory. My memory doesn't work anymore.
I'm still getting an error.
I'm getting an error on your line 17. It doesn't like the colon for some reason.
That's weird. I mean, that would be, it's the beginning of...
It says indentation for that.
So where is the, is your line indented exactly right? And the lines above it and below it. I'm going to try it one more time. Invalid tag. Oh, you know what I forgot? That's another thing. As I said, my memory is gone. So in the product detail, I have a 4, but I forgot to end my 4. That's actually a good sign if I made it that far. So there it is with the 2 reviews. And the price is 0. So if I go back to products and I click on iPad, it has 1 review. Notice it says number of reviews 1. 850, it has Steve is the thing. All right, so then if we go back to products, and then if I do Lenovo, it has no reviews, so it doesn't show any. So it's working now. Yeah.
Can I see the code for the product details again?
So
Just the review, yeah.
this part. Let me move this down a little and then this up.
Yeah. Well, realistically speaking, you want it to work first.
All right, so
No, most of the questions I get usually like
So you seem to be on top of this.
you guys got it okay?
Question.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm getting. So on the URL is, it's trying to import the views. On line 18 of views, it doesn't like this indentation. It says the indent does not match any other indentations.
Notice that your depth is over by like 1 second. Yeah.
That's one thing.
Yeah, I mean, those little areas and some below. I think that it can compensate a little bit. You guys just work with me? No. You got the links. Let's see what happens.
So yeah, that's it.
I think so. I think we can put that. First, let's go through these. Did you include that? Yes, if here's mine. I'm just gonna check something real quick and I'll bring this back. It is object.
Oh, yeah, you will text the text. You will text the text the last name.
Oh, yeah. So should it be equals ID or?
It should be.
No, right. No.
Oh, yeah.
Just recently.
You were gonna put three this quarter. No. No. Somebody was gonna get it. But no, I. Yeah.
I've seen that work before. I sometimes think that there's like a hidden characters.
Because I swear,
I returned.
on coding, absolutely.
So Thursday will be open lab. That's fine. But we'll, I'll help anyone that's behind, I'll try to help catch up on Thursday.
Just because of like, I swear. I think for sure.
So, products is not the fun. Let's look at what you got products.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, so.
Yeah.
This is a product.
I'm not taking any of the JavaScript stuff, so.
Yeah.
It's got a nice-
I'm gonna go downstairs.
Object that.
Yeah, it needs to be up there.
You think?
Oh, I'll come back, I need to get my charger actually.
I did it.
Oh, you did it? I mean, it's so easy.
Yes, it was. I was able to like troubleshoot it and do it and get it up. So now it's just which will be this meetings and
Yeah.
minutes thing, which.
You're not gonna be
No, later, there's a later.
Oh, oh, for that,
I'll probably late. Because we're not doing it for the last one. Yeah, I'll do them.
Oh, it smells like, something's going wrong in the corner, right?
Something smells funky.
Yeah.
Something in the elevator.
It smells like my oven at home.
I was just thinking, it smells like almost burning, like cooking spray or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like cooking oil, like that's either gone off slightly
Yeah.
or is
Someone
burning.
didn't clean something.
Yeah, or it's at like high heat, like
Past the oil.
acid smoke going.
It's not the first, it's the touch.
Anyway, somebody's probably gonna talk and do that.
You know how many times this screen, this screen, this screen won't do anything? You're just sitting there like, what is going on?
This is like the whole user error. Okay, I'll see you in 45 minutes. Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Manageable. I know it's a gentle call with that. Stuff.
Yay!
Yeah. So, in the United States, well, you can say that like, yeah. What is the problem? So the web page, don't you? Well, you have no attribute. Right, objects. Generally ignore everything except the top or whatever. So what we need to do is in view, object. So we say that, and then it runs Generally, it gets into the deep trace, but usually the real error they need is right at the top.
Well, I'm thinking the reverse.
For which,
I was looking at that. Using the reverse. So like, it's like,
so let's look at your places to look for that. So,
Oh, I'm not technically. Next
I
class.
think the other person
Shove some food in
so you're linking it in.
and the,
Oh, yeah, no. I'll see you on Thursday.
It wouldn't be empty with our ID.
No.
If the ID was our ID.
oh, wow. Nice.
That's the problem.
Oh,
Well,
after
the
this.
regular
Wow, I'm so behind.
Well, it's,
Yeah, there we go.
yeah, okay.
Thank you.
No problem. I gotta kill this.
Yeah. So you do the web URL, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and you made a public repository for it?
Yeah, create a new one.
Okay, good. That should,
Yeah.
all right. All right, so everything should be saved here. Should be able to close all of that. Close. Not going to install updates right now. I don't want to do that either. I just wanna-
Participate.